Okay. I assume if anybody else is joining, they will join over time. And of course, these meetings are always recorded, so it will be on our YouTube channel tomorrow. But just to get started, in the interest of what time it is and making sure that everybody kind of has time to do what they need to for the rest of the night. This is the first class of many, hopefully, this year for our marketing team. Hopefully we will be able to expand on these different topics and ideas here. Next month, we are planning on having one about designing your own personal website using KV Core. So that should be a very exciting one, and one that most agents should consider joining in on. But for today, we are discussing creating an effective marketing plan. I just wanted to get started with something that was simple and something that everybody could kind of utilize in their business. This is not something that's just specifically for marketing professionals. This is something that any small business owner or any realtor can use to kind of create effective campaigns in their personal marketing. So stuff that can be actually utilized and acted upon over time. So just to kind of get started with this, important points that we will be going over today in creating an effective marketing plan. All of these are kind of like a roadmap and something that you can use as a guide to creating your own or working with your own. Starting with setting your vision goals, identifying your target customer, creating business strategic and tactical goals, unique selling propositions or USPs, SWOT analysis or strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, competitor analysis, selecting your marketing materials, planning a marketing calendar, and then, of course, lead conversion. So good marketing plans can actually set you up for success, allow you to identify the right tools, find the correct message, and effectively reach your audience. This allows you to better serve your clients or differentiate yourself from your competition a little bit better. With a marketing plan, you'll be able to do all of these and more, and it will help you create a more successful campaign when actually sending these things out. So working with direct mailing, email marketing, digital marketing on Google AdWords or Facebook advertising, or even just working with a simple personal social media account such as Facebook or Instagram. You can utilize a marketing plan to kind of build upon it. My first point here, and the most important, is your vision goals or your vision. So this is something that you should have already kind of created for yourself when starting to work as a realtor or starting your own business. A vision goal is the business achievements or accomplishments that you would like to achieve in the midterm or long term of working. So this is something that you are striving to achieve towards over the next few years or even shorter sometimes if you're more ambitious. My old boss used to call these moonshots. So what it means is you shoot for the moon and you land among the stars. So what is your biggest goal? What do you want to see your business doing in the next few years? This goal would be the foundation of your plan. It kind of gives you an idea of how this plan can push you towards that goal a little bit better, how this campaign is going to help you along the way of this path. So examples would be my business will change the way new homeowners think about real estate, how we can provide excellent service, and our excellent service will lead them thinking that our business is the way that every real estate business should work. So vision goals should be your big overarching, what is important to you about your business. The next part is sorry about that. So the next most important thing in your marketing plan, and most importantly overall, is your target customer. So this is the person that you are trying to reach with these marketing campaigns. These are the people that you want to convert into clients. So you would specifically be looking for someone important to you, somebody who you think will actually be a perfect lead for your business. So you want to kind of create a story around it. So a lot of working with marketing is research. A lot of people don't really know that. When viewing like marketing from the outside, they all think of it like how it is in the movies, where they're going into these big meetings, landing these new clients and stuff like that. But really what they're doing is they're sitting behind a computer and they're writing a million things down on a spreadsheet for 2 hours and doing hours and hours of research to actually be able to perfectly execute these campaigns and to make sure that the information that they are giving is correct and will actually allow them to effectively manage these campaigns. So this is the first part of research, where you're going to kind of look into what your target customers should be, who would be most likely to be what you want to target in these campaigns. You want to focus a little bit more on them rather than kind of just blindly send out, because if you kind of focus a little bit more, you can focus your message towards them and it might capture their attention a little bit better. Whereas rather than just sending out a one-size-fits-all message might actually be ignored more often. So somebody give me an example of what a target customer would be for your real estate business.
So Lindsay, I'm sorry, can you hear me, Lindsay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. Hey, I'm not sure if everybody else can hear us, but I'm just going to intervene here. As far as target market, I guess I'm looking for, depending on who I want to work with. So if I want to work with buyers, I've got to find those individuals who are potentially, say, renting right now. So I would probably send them flyers and marketing materials so that if and when they're ready to move out or move up, we would certainly start the process of knowing where their finances are, credit, savings, and any of those things to start them, get that ball rolling.
Exactly. You want to kind of give them a story in a way when you're first looking at it. So yeah, as you said, if you're looking for people who are going to be like first-time home buyers, you might want to look for people who are currently renting. So you might want to target apartment buildings or condo areas, or just kind of look and see where renters are kind of culminating around, like where you could possibly find them. So you might want to also focus on their age. What age group are you very much interested in? Is it somebody like younger renters, like you want to find like younger, like 21 to 24, or do you want to focus on people who are maybe going to be starting a family soon, like people in their late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s? So that's important. You also want to kind of consider your household makeup. Maybe you're looking for couples that might be useful to you, or maybe you're looking for a single person who's looking for an investment home or their first home, and they might be looking for something a little bit more on the less expensive side. So you're going to want to tailor your messaging towards that type of person. So you want to spend a lot of time considering who your target customer is and how your messaging is going to come across to them, like what you need to say to capture their attention a little bit better.
But then if I could ask one last thing, because other than target marketing those specific types of clients, what would you say would be potentially the number of times and or the number of cards that you're going to need to send out to these individuals before you actually get a return or a response? What would you think that would be?
So it completely depends on where they are themselves in the home buying process. You could honestly see a return first time around for sending out cards, but I would definitely consider attacking them from different angles in some ways. So instead of just sending direct mailers, maybe you also want to do Facebook advertising to specific locations, which you can do actually with Facebook ads. You can actually tailor your ads to only serve to specific subdivisions. So you can hit them with that as well. Maybe they're sitting at home, they're thinking about real estate, all of a sudden your ad pops up. That also captures their attention. You want to focus on capturing them in different areas rather than just sending them the same direct mailers every time or doing the same email marketing every time. if you kind of capture them on different platforms, it gives them a little bit more of a push to reach out to you. So with customers, it may take a few tries. What I've typically seen with like advertising online typically takes for a bigger purchase such as this, which I used to work with luxury goods and stuff like that. Usually it would take 3 or 4 advertisement visits to actually get to a purchase or even just a website visit. So it could take a few tries to capture their attention. That's why you want to make sure that your messages are tailored a little bit better. Because if you're just sending them a one-size-fits-all message, you could basically be throwing rocks into the ocean that way.
So if I may, would you probably suggest them maybe putting in, let's say, like a value proposition, something that they really would need? Like what
Yes.
kind of examples have you done cards for in that manner?
So we've done a couple different card designs here at Fairfax Realty Premier. One of the most popular that agents tend to choose from is after they sold a home in the area, they like to send it out to everybody within the same neighborhood and show how much it's sold for. And it kind of gives them an idea of like, your home can sell for this much. Let me talk to you about it. Usually you offer some sort of, you can't necessarily use the word free, but we like to say complimentary consultation to discuss what their options are with mortgages, what their options are with their house if they're looking to sell. If we're looking for renters and buyers, a lot of people will discuss the market right now and kind of give them an idea of like, hey, how can I help you understand what's going on here? I want to help you get somewhere with this. It's kind of more like, especially if you're looking at first-time home buyers, you want to kind of focus on capturing their attention and showing them that you can teach them rather than you selling them, because they're nervous already. So you want to kind of focus on a way to like ease that nerve. Like, I've been in the business for so many years. I've helped this many people purchase homes. I am going to be the one that can teach you how to do this. I'll give you a complimentary consultation. We can discuss your options and stuff like that. That's a good way to kind of capture attention rather than just saying, I want to sell your home, or I want to help you buy a home. I want to help you in the process of buying a home. I want to show you how to do this.
Right.
So,
You know, I like all those ideas. And it was one that really stood out that I used way back when I first started and working with buyers. And correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not sure if anybody else is using this tactic, but I would send out cards that would actually show them the same amount of money they're paying for rent, let's say $2,000 for rent, that could actually be a homeowner. So I'm not sure, has anybody used that one?
we have some in our old storage. We haven't had any this year in 2022, but this is a common tactic where you can actually show them. I've actually received these myself as a renter because I do live in a condo association. So I do get a lot of want to buy a home. So a lot of the times they do show me that my rent could be used towards a mortgage, because a lot of renters, especially younger renters, don't really understand the difference between like actually purchasing a home and like what they think it is. They usually think like, oh, I can't afford that. But really, in reality, it can be very similar to their renting. So that's always a good way to kind of capture, especially renters. You want to show them like, hey, if you're thinking of staying here the long term and you actually like want to settle here, you could probably get a mortgage for the same as your rent right now. Like you could pay off your mortgage month to month.
I know, it's amazing. People right now, they don't understand that what they're doing basically is throwing money out the window when they could easily be a homeowner, earning equity and having more write-offs, which is, again, it's a teaching moment and you've got to get that point across. So I like that idea. Thanks, Lindsay.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that you can target your customers in a way of like capturing their attention. But the most important part is just knowing where they're at in life, understanding that story and understanding how to kind of target and message to that story. You want to make sure that your messaging is getting across to the correct people and your messaging is capturing their attention and not just going in one year and out the other. So that's why it's super important to take your time to research and take your time to come up with the target customer. Give yourself an idea of who you are trying to convert into a client.
Yep. Perfect sense.
There's also the idea of the messaging afterwards. What do you want those customers to do? So not only do you want to capture their attention to make them look at the postcard, you also want to give them a reason like to call you back. You want to give them like something to actually like act upon. So what is going to be the actionable item in your advertising? What are they going to do to reach you? Like, is it going to be a call this number now for a consultation? Is it going to be a go to my website and click on this to learn more about like how much your mortgage can be? Like, go to our website and use our free mortgage calculator or something like that. What is the action that you want them to do when you are using this advertising? So not only do you have to capture their attention and show them that you are looking for people like them and you can help people like them, you also want them to do something. So they need to, the whole thing is you've done your action, you sent out your advertisement, now it's their turn. So what is the message that you want to send them that will get them to interact with you? How do you want them to interact? Do you want them to just visit your website, or do you want them to call you personally? Do you want them to set up an appointment, or do you want them to start the process of pre-approval? Where do you want them to be? What do you want them to do? How do you want them to reach out to you? That's another important thing. So with your target customers, what do you think will be the action that they are most likely to do? So I'm going to stop here for a second and just reach out and see if anybody has any questions, anything that you want to know, or anything that I can elaborate on so far. Feel free to let me know in the chat, or you can take yourself off mute and ask me. And you can ask these questions at any point during this. You are more than welcome to kind of just be a part of the conversation here and ask anything that you need to. But yeah, so next are your next goals. So these are going to be the goals that are of your actual campaign. So your vision goal is your overall business goal. Your business, strategic, and tactical goals are going to be your marketing plan goals. So you can have a marketing plan that spans for one campaign. You can have a marketing plan that spans over a year. You kind of have to tailor your business goals to that. So the business goals are what you expect from the campaign, or what the success would be for your campaign. So let's say one person wants to have $2 million of sales for the year. That's a business goal. That's a goal. Like, or maybe your campaign is just to get leads. Today you want to get 4 leads that are converted into clients from your marketing campaign. That's another goal that can be a business goal. These are very important to have because these are the end result of your campaign. These are where you want this to end up in the short term. Next is your strategic goals. So your strategic goals are what you're going to use to reach your business goals. So what strategies are you going to use? So the example I have here is your business goal is $2 million in sales for the year. Your strategic goal is to be recognized as a top real estate agent in your county. So say you want to be one of the top real estate agents in Montgomery County. That's a great way to kind of like market yourself, grow your business, move on from that. So a strategic goal is kind of just like, what strategies are you going to use? What do you think is going to push you towards that business goal? How are you going to get there? But more important than that is your tactical goals. So your tactical goals are your strategies. They're the actual things that you are going to do, the actionable items that you are going to do that are going to push you towards those strategy goals and those business goals. So a tactical goal could be something like posting customer reviews to your website or your business social medias. It could be going around to local businesses and leaving your business cards for people to use, or creating a referral program. This is where your marketing materials come into play too. So this could be, I'm spending however much money on Google Ads to get my advertising out there to a specific target group in a specific area. And I'm going to have those people try to have a call to action to contact me, and then that will be my leads. So those tactical goals are what you're actually doing in your marketing plan. This is the actions that you are putting into it to actually get to those business goals. So your unique selling proposition. The USP is something that we talk about a lot in marketing. It is what you are into your messaging. It is what makes your company unique from other competitors. So you're always going to be looking at your competition to see what they do. It's always important to do as well is to always make sure that you are kind of keeping up with what everybody else is doing in the industry, kind of keeping up with what people are talking about, what people are saying about themselves, what they are using software-wise or website-wise. So your unique selling proposition is very important because it's what differentiates you from these competitors that you have. So you have something like this where you can create a statement. That's your unique selling proposition. That's what makes your company unique. So the idea is to make sure that you are kind of even like just internally deciding what makes you different from the next realtor over or the next real estate company over. So you have to have your target customer. So let's say your target customer is renters. So for renters who need to purchase their first home, with our company's personally guided process, the product or solution. So that is what comes next. What is your solution to their problem? So their problem is they don't have a home, they want to buy a home. What's your solution to that? Oh, we have a process to help them figure out what kind of home they need, how much they can spend, and then we kind of push them through that process. So the quantified benefits is the next one. This is what you provide. So you have your solution, which is a personally guided process that provides a quick and painless home purchase, or it provides a very intuitive and very comforting home buying process. Maybe if somebody's a little bit nervous about it, it gives maybe an in-depth and very helpful process for people. What are the benefits that you can offer your target customer? What are you doing for them? And so that's the explicit price of what you are doing. So you can utilize this in a way of like, we do this very painless. We do this without asking for a lot of commission. Like you could say, oh, however much commission is off the overall experience there. So unlike, this is your differences to your competitors. How is your unique selling proposition different than XYZ company? So unlike them, we do this by, how do you do it differently? So we do this by combining our extensive knowledge of the market, and we have a deep understanding of our customers' needs, kind of show them what makes you different, what kind of pushes you away from the rest and pushes you up a little bit more. You want to kind of create this idea that you are not like every other realtor. You have something special about you, and that is what is going to be important to them. That will be what helps them. And then you can use a demonstration, a proof point. If you have a lot of good reviews, that's a proof point. If you've done however many sales in the past year, that's a proof point. Anything like that, any sort of physical or verbal demonstrations that you can give, that's important as well. So all of this creates your unique selling proposition. It's what you do that nobody else does. It's what makes you unique. Next one, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So you're going to do this for both yourself and your competition. It's important to kind of figure out your strengths and weaknesses and your competitors' strengths and weaknesses. Your strengths and weaknesses could be, somebody give me an example. What is a strength that a realtor could have in today's market? Anybody?
To be personable, like a people person.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's a good strength to have, especially working in real estate. You want to be able to be personable. You want to be able to talk to them and make them feel comfortable. So that's a really good strength. Somebody give me, what do you think a weakness could be? I know we all don't like to say that we have weaknesses, but of course, that's not true. What do you guys think a weakness would be?
You know, I'll be honest with you. My weakness, believe it or not, is getting no for an answer. And I hate when people say no, but I usually say, you know what? I understand you're not ready to buy today, but you know what? Do you mind if I still stay in touch with you? And I'll still keep sending your information, because in the event that maybe you change your mind or you come across somebody you know who may need our services, I'll be more than glad to help them. And that's just someone you're just going to have to constantly stay on top of. And it's going to take them longer, but eventually they're going to come back because they can't rent forever. So, and it's just a matter of time with that type of individual.
Yeah, so we could say like a weakness is being a little too overexcited about it, or being a little too much for some renters. Some people might be a little bit more
Aggressive.
worried about the process. Yeah, aggressive.
Right.
You could be a little too on top of them.
There you go. That's me. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rebecca.
You're welcome. Because I heard a person say that sometimes real estate agents come across too aggressive, like they're trying to force someone into actually buying a house.
Yeah. Yeah, see
Well,
that.
Rebecca, you're right. It's aggressive, but it's called passive aggressive. Okay. So please understand that.
But you also made a good point too, Alfredo. You can turn that into an opportunity as well. So you can use your strengths and weaknesses to create opportunities for yourself. So utilizing that aggressiveness can also create an opportunity to create new clients by handing them your business card or information and being like, well, if you ever have somebody that you know that needs it, or if in time you're still around, like, and you need to find a real estate agent, I'm still here. So it's a way to also create an opportunity. So opportunities is the next thing. You can find opportunities everywhere within it. Using your strengths and weaknesses to create opportunities are great, but also using your competitors' weaknesses can be a great way to create opportunities for yourselves. So like say, we as Fairfax Realty Premier always like to say that we are a local company, we are small, we know the area, and that can be used as a strength in contrast to the weakness of larger companies like RE/MAX that are spread very thin. They have a lot of different areas. Some of their agents don't know the location as well as our agents do. So that's a great way that we utilize our competitors' weakness for our opportunity. Lastly is our threats. Yes, Rebecca?
Well, one of the threats that I don't know if it's considered a threat, but one of the comments that I get a lot from people who are actually looking to sell is they quote me the price that Zillow gives them. And so I tell them, I said, well, if you read what Zillow gives you, they're giving you what they call a zestimate, meaning that is Zillow's estimate of what you can possibly sell your house for. Where if you work with me and you let me help you sell your home, I can give you an actual better price range of what your house can sell for. And it's not an estimate of the kind that Zillow will give you, because Zillow is not guaranteed to be giving you the price that you will get based on the actual sales of homes that have sold in your neighborhood and those that are pending and under contract. And that makes them think, because a lot of people believe that Zillow's estimate is really an accurate estimate of what they can get, what they can receive in selling their homes. So I would consider that a threat, because I hear that a lot from people.
Yeah, that can be a really big threat. This is something that has come up a lot. Working in marketing is Zillow estimates and Redfin, of course, coming through. These big online companies tend to create a little bit of a threat to smaller realtors because they tend to give these grand ideas of what it would be to sell your house because they want you to work with them. They want you to work with those Zillow Premier agents and give them more money. So they're going to tell you that your house is worth more than maybe the estimate might actually be. They're giving you something that is like a dream for them. And that's their great way of like kind of marketing themselves, is they're offering something that everybody wants. They want to sell their house for more. Whereas like with renters, they want to rent for less. So Zillow can sometimes help with that, where you can find a rent by owner. And it just makes it a little bit difficult for smaller realtors because they do things where they will market themselves in a way that might be detrimental to the rest of us. So a big threat could be those.
Well, one of the other threats, like you said, Lindsay, those online businesses, real estate companies that are offering like 2% agents, commissions and no agent commission. But what they failed to tell people in those commercials is that they get paid through the fees and all the added costs that a seller doesn't realize that they have to pay until they sign the contract and when they read the fine print. 9 times out of 10, people don't read the fine print. So they don't find out till it's too late that there are a list of fees and charges that are going to be required for them to pay when they go to closing that they didn't foresee, because they were looking at the quote unquote 2% commission towards an online real estate company.
Exactly. So that's a great point. And that's also a good place for you to find an opportunity. So what you can always do is you can utilize that in your advertising as long as it's not being used to be derogatory towards another company or detrimental towards them. You just want to kind of like stay away from that. But you can always like say, oh, why pay all these different fees when you can work with a local realtor and get a beautiful house and stuff like that. That's an opportunity also for people to do. So you know how these companies work, so you know how to kind of market against them. So that's why it's very useful to kind of understand how your competitors work. You can call Zillow and all these bigger online giants as competitors because technically they are in some way. So kind of researching into your competitors, see what they're saying, see what they're doing with their clients, like focus on the reviews that the clients are leaving and stuff like that is a great way to kind of find opportunities to prove your own strengths through that. So things like that, threats like that, like finding little holes in what they are advertising is a great way to kind of help yourself. Like instead of saying, well, they do this, you can say, well, instead of going with that, I do this. And it can be your way of like showing the better strength to your company than something that they are trying to hide. So, and that is very common with a lot of big companies where they will do selective advertising, where they will show, oh yeah, it's 2% commission, but they won't tell you about everything. As long as they're not lying about it, whereas they're saying it's only 2% commission, it's perfectly fine for them to do. So that's always the hard part. A lot of unfortunate customers will find those loopholes when they're going through like purchasing a house and stuff like that. So it's quite difficult with these larger companies now. But moving on, the next one that's very important, of course, is the competitive analysis. So this is something that we do in marketing every single day, all day. We are spending a lot of time researching our competitors, seeing what they're advertising. When I worked in the corporate marketing space, I only ever got ads for my competitors on every single website I ever went to. And that was because I was spending every day going to their website to make sure that I got those ads, to make sure I had them so I knew what to kind of go against. So you want to make sure that you are focusing on what your competitors are doing. You don't want to just kind of assume that they're doing the same thing as you, or assume that they're not working as hard on it because they're also focusing on their own strengths. So you want to find their strengths and their weaknesses. How do you kind of show up against them? What are the weaknesses that you have as strengths? Like, what can you use against that? So it's always good to kind of determine who are your primary competitors and what are the challenges that they present. Somebody give me an idea of a real estate company that could be a big competitor for Fairfax Realty right now. Come on, there's got to be a good real estate company out there.
Well, we could say Remax, Keller Williams.
Remax and Keller Williams. All right, so I know the strengths of Remax are they have a lot of different agents and they are spread across a lot of different areas and they're a very well-known name. People know who Remax is. If somebody's coming from a different state, they know who Remax is because they've heard of them. They've seen their commercials. That was the first real estate company that I ever came in contact with as a young, teenager. I would see their commercials on TV. So that's a very big strength for them, is that they're recognizable. However, one of their weaknesses is they are a big chain. So it can make it a little bit more difficult for first-time home buyers to kind of see, find a real estate agent that really knows the area or makes them feel comfortable in there. They might also slip through the cracks there if they're reaching out on the website or something like that. Lead generation can be a little bit finicky that way when working with big real estate websites like that. So people might kind of slip through the cracks and just not get reached back out to. So something that we can use for Fairfax Realty Premier as a strength in comparison to that is that we are a small local company. We have a lot of agents for how we're not as large as this company, but we have a lot of agents, and most of these agents have lived here for most of their lives. They understand the areas. They're more than happy to be a part of it, and they're always looking to find these clients and really help them. So that's something that we always use in our advertising. We always discuss how we are local. We are here to help them, how we have all these agents, over 1,000 agents in our entire company now that are here to actually personally guide them through the real estate process and how they will make them more comfortable. So that's something that we always try to do. We try to find how we can create a strength from their weakness. But of course, you also have to focus on their strengths. So Remax is so very recognizable. So how are we supposed to fight against recognizable companies like that? What is something that we can do that would make us give us a strength against that? What is something that we as a smaller company could do in that case? Can somebody give me an idea of how we could kind of advertise against that strength?
I think for me, it's making sure that my clients feel like they're more than just a client. I try to make them feel as though they're a family member that I'm trying to help achieve a goal that they have, whether that is to sell their home or to buy a home. So I make sure that I give them personalized attention and care and service. And I try not to have to make them feel like they can't reach me when they need to, but yet I respect the times when they're working, or it's late in the evenings and things like that. Or if I know that they have an unusual schedule, then I make sure that I have notes somewhere that I know, okay, this person works on the weekends, so don't contact them on the weekends, and they work nights. So I try to be very cognizant of what my clients' needs are, in addition to just they want to sell their house or they want to buy a house, because it's more than that. And if people feel that you really take them into consideration, not just buying or selling a home, I think that they feel that they're getting personal service, like you would a personal shopper, a personal buyer, someone that looks at the whole person and all of their needs in relation to how that would impact them buying or selling a home.
Oh, that's a really great point. Yeah, I like that. It's more of looking at them like family than like customers. That's
Right.
a great way of looking at it instead of, and that's a great way to like make a point against something like Remax. Remax is going to treat you like a customer. I'm going to treat you like a family member. I'm going to treat you like a friend. I want you to be excited about the experience rather than like just selling you something. I'm helping you along this journey. We're going on a path together instead. So that kind of makes it a little bit better because a home buying experience, especially a first time home buying experience, is very important to people. That's a life event. That's not just like buying a new pair of jeans at the store. You're buying your first home. So a lot of real estate companies, especially larger real estate companies, they always like to put that in their advertising where they're saying like, we are here for you, you are buying your first home. We want to make sure that you know that, but how many can actually attest that their agents are doing that? Whereas with a local based company like this, we have the opportunity to kind of advertise ourselves a little bit more like that. Like we are your friends. We grew up here, we live here, we're your friends, we're your family, we're going to help you with it. So that's a great way to kind of like work against them. So you can kind of see, you can take their strengths as well and kind of find a way around it and create your own strength from it, create something that makes you unique from that. So that's the important part of doing a competitive analysis is you want to make sure that you are creating a unique profile away from these competitors. You want to make sure because like just because they're doing it doesn't mean you need to be. Just because they're advertising a certain way doesn't mean that that's going to work for you. You want to find a way to kind of differentiate yourself from that. And people are seeing these advertisements all day, every day. You don't want it to be exactly the same as these other people. You don't want your pitch or your tagline to be what these other companies are using. You want it to be unique to you. So that way you can kind of stand out in a way. So that's why it's important to do your own strengths and weaknesses, and it's important to follow theirs. It's important to make sure that you know what they are saying, what they are advertising, because then you can kind of jump off of it and create something that's more personal to you. And that's why whenever, if agents have come into my office, you always notice I always give the option of doing a very personalized postcard. I always say, whatever you want to do, that's what we will do. Because I want it to be a personal advertisement. I want it to be an advertisement that shows off what you want your clients to see, what you want potential clients to see in you. I don't want you to feel like you're doing something cookie cutter because it's not supposed to be. You're individual businesses. You want to be able to kind of show that off. So the fun part, this is what I always refer to as the fun part. This was my favorite part when I was always doing big marketing campaigns. It's selecting your marketing materials and making them. So you have a lot of different options to choose from when you are marketing towards people. You want to make sure that what you choose works for the target customer that you have already decided on. So you might think, oh, direct mailers would be really fun to make and really fun to send out and might get me somewhere. But your customers might not be focusing on that. They might be more likely to view you on website. Maybe they're just looking you up on a Google search, and you want your real estate website to be a little bit more well-designed and eye-catching and easy to navigate. So you want to kind of focus your marketing materials on the target customer and the target selling proposition that you have decided upon. You don't want to like just choose one because it's the easiest. You want to choose one because it might actually create effective results for you. So of course you can always do direct mailers. It works pretty well for a lot of real estate agents, and it's a great way to kind of give them a physical copy of what you are proposing to them. Whereas online advertising can be a little bit more short-lived, a little bit more fleeting. If they click away from the page, they might forget about it. But if it's good and it continually goes to them, they are more likely to see that in more places. than a physical flyer. So that's why online advertising can be very useful for agents, because you can keep attracting their attention. You can keep showing your advertisement towards them. You can also use physical signs and adverts. You can put signs in front of the homes. You can put adverts out into the world. You can use magazine advertising. You can, of course, do your own personal real estate website, as I mentioned. That is always a great way to advertise yourself. You'll show up in the Google search results if you do a really good job with the SEO on those websites, which we can discuss next month's class with the Building a KB Core website. You can also use a direct referral program. So this is something that's actually fairly good to use, is to always work with your customers and clients over and over again. Keep in touch with them over time, and you can create a direct referral program where you can have them refer people to you. You can even create one with some sort of incentive to kind of capture their attention and be like, oh, I know you just purchased your home. Do you have anybody that you would like to maybe recommend to us? Do you have any friends who are looking for a home? It's a great way to do it. If you have customers who really fell in love with the process, feel very comfortable with you, you are more likely to receive referrals from them. So you want to make sure that you are making those customers as happy as possible. The referral program is one of the most common forms of advertising for most businesses now, where you create different types of referral links if you're an online business, or you can have in-person referrals if you're a physical business. It's a great way to kind of keep you going, especially if, like, say, you sent out direct mailers and they're just not hitting the mark just yet. Your direct referrals will come in for you. So there are a lot of different ways that you can market towards people. These are just some of the top ones that I know of. Whatever works best for your clients is what you're focusing on. How are you going to capture those leads, and how are you going to capture their intention? Lastly, for the actual planning phase is putting together a calendar. So you want to plan out when your milestones will be, when your launch days will be. When are you going to send out those mailers if you're doing direct mailing? When are you going to launch the ads if you're going to be doing online advertising? When is your real estate website going to go live? And when are you going to start sending it to your previous customers to kind of view and send out to their friends? All of those things should go into a calendar. You should kind of keep an idea of when you did what, so you can accurately record the results of these campaigns. So let's say I will launch a campaign on the 2nd of April. I want to know exactly when that is so I can record results within 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, just to kind of see how it's progressing over time. And then you want to have milestones. So your milestones are just going to be estimates of where you think this campaign will be and when. It's kind of to give you an idea of what you want to achieve. And it might push you to change things over time if you're doing a more long-term marketing plan, like let's say you're doing one for an entire year. If you haven't reached a certain milestone by a certain point, it might kind of tell you that maybe you need to change your advertising strategy a little bit. Maybe you need to tweak your marketing plan, and you can always change it over time. A lot of what we would do in like digital advertising is we would change the ads every so often so that we could kind of meet our milestones quicker, or we would see, oh, this one's working, but this one's not, so let's change it. That's a great way to kind of do it. So that's why you always kind of want to keep things on a calendar and keep an idea of when you did what, so you can always record the results correctly. So after you've launched your campaign, you've done your whole plan, now you're starting to get leads, become effective. What are you going to do with those leads? So you have people calling your phone or people coming in for appointments. How are you going to seal the deal? How are you going to convert those leads into clients? So that's always an important thing that you have to note to it. What is going to be your primary method of converting them? Are you going to sit down with them, have a discussion? Are you going to give them like this whole like explanation of what they need help with? Are you going to kind of give them an idea of what you can do with them, or give them like a little like pamphlet rundown, like even like physical like plans for them. Like, what are the methods that you are going to use to convert those leads into clients? What if they're just like sending you a message on Facebook? Where do you go from there? Where do you start with this lead? Like, you see this person, they're interested. Where do you go from there? How do you capture that person? How do you get them to work with you? So what's a way that you have in the past gotten a person to come on as a client? How have you converted that person from lead to client? Anybody? I mean, you're all realtors. I know that you all have had clients before. Come on.
So Lindsay, I'm sorry, the question was how are you converting your leads?
Yeah. Yeah, what are you saying to them or doing with them or working with them on to take them from a lead to a client? What is your pitch? How are you kind of taking it from that advertising stage to the I'm working with you now and I'm going to help you buy this home stage?
So setting timelines as to what needs to be done, because just as we will be looking certainly for that dream home for them, they too will have to also do X, Y, and Z, which is speaking to a lender, getting a pre-approval, and then also ironing out exactly where it is that they wish to move to, because then that also helps me finding their right home in the neighborhood that they're really looking for. So it's really a mutual business deal is what you would like to put it in there, because I will help you do as much as I can, but I won't be able to do that unless I know that you're ready, willing, and able, and then where exactly it is that you want to go to. So it just speaking to them in that aspect of it, I think it brings it home because it puts them at bay. And if you put, like I said, a timeline, sort of it's going to take us a month, is it going to take us 3 months? It could even take us 6 months, that's fine. But so long as they have things to do by a certain period of time, it kind of sort of lays out the plan for them knowing by when it is that they need to get everything ready so that I can also be of assistance.
Okay, so the kind of plan with them is to kind of give them actionable items, have them also work on something, give them homework per se to kind of get them involved in it. So that's a good way to kind of start the lead conversion process. I'm sure there are many ways that you can kind of get them on board with you or find ways to kind of get them at least into a meeting with you so that you can kind of start working with them and start getting them closer to actually finding their home, purchasing their home, or selling their home. So there are a lot of different ways, but lead conversion is the final step of the process. And that's something that you should always keep in mind when you are creating these marketing plans and when you are sending all these things out is how am I going to create the end result of this? How am I going to end the funnel for these people? So you have your funnel, you're starting at the very beginning and then you're going to the very end where they are becoming clients. You want to make sure that you know how you are going to bring them to the end of it, how you're going to lead them there. So yeah, once you do all of that, you have an effective marketing plan. It's actually a fairly simple process. And really, it's just more of like, where do you want to go and when? How are you going to get there? What are you going to say? And when you label all of these things out beforehand, it can make it very easy to work with it as it's going on and change things over time. Because if you have the plan steps laid out for you, it makes it a little bit easier to kind of understand where you've been and where you are going with that. It gives you the opportunity to kind of focus on more than just like, I want to have this mail out sent out, like, but how, why, what are you going to say on it? How are you going to do it? Writing it all down can really help you in that process. It can really give you an idea of like, oh, this is exactly what I want it to be, rather than, I don't know where to start. I don't know how I'm getting there. Let's just get something on the ground. Chat.
Hey, Lindsay, is there any way you can send us, or at least the agents who are here and maybe even on the website, so that they have um, some of the slides that you provided here, and
Yeah,
they can start setting up their plans and their goals? Is that something you can send to us as well?
of course, yes. So I do actually have a printout guide of this at my office, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out all these slides to all of the agents in the office and make it available to you guys. So that way you have your own fill-in guide of this. So instead of just having to like jump from like one to the next of like writing it all down for yourself, you will actually have a physical guide to go along with, and you can just write it out in there rather than just like trying to figure it out on your own or trying to follow it on your own. So that will also be very helpful to you, because then you can kind of just follow along with the steps the first few times to get used to working with a plan like this. Yeah. Do we have any more questions, or does anybody need any clarifications?
I think it's good here that we started with this one right now, and I know you said you're going to be doing additional trainings beyond this, so that we can also have and look at KV Core also. So I'm certainly, that's something that the agents would like to see as well. When's the next session going to be for you?
So let me see here. I need to check really fast because I have it all laid out. In April, I'm focusing on probably having it around the end of April, so around the 24th. I like to do them on Mondays, so and in the evenings. So hopefully around the 24th of April will be the next one, and that will be utilizing a personal website. We will have more trainings throughout the year, such as working with an Instagram business account, which a lot of agents have asked me about working with Instagram, how they can actually utilize it. So I'm hoping that that will be very useful to them. And then we will also have a couple more trainings on working with different types of social media. I also want to kind of like focus on more marketing procedures like this. So maybe with digital advertising, or possibly working with Facebook advertising, which is a very big thing to tackle. So over time, it might be something that some of our agents might want to look into. It's also very useful. So yeah.
Good. Thank you. Great. Well, listen, I know I certainly learn a lot. It's always refreshing to get that shot in the arm, especially when you've been a little bit slow on what you're doing, and you tend to forget, especially when you start doing other things, that marketing is certainly one of the key aspects of a successful business. And I think that you went through in such detail, Lindsay. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate it. This was a very good training. I do. I look forward to all the other ones.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that you guys enjoyed it. And of course, if you ever want to look back on this will be on our YouTube channel. I will be sending out the link tomorrow. So anybody who has been through this and just wants to kind of revisit everything, or people who were unable to join us tonight will be able to rewatch this and just kind of like take notes as they go along.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Lindsay. Have a good evening.
Thank you, guys.
Take care. Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Lindsay. Thanks. Thank you, everyone.